It's Tomb Raider Tuesday! Lovelies. Get your little dust brush out. Get your digging stick ready. Digging stick? Do I mean a shovel? Do I? No more drinking before noon, fraggers. No more of that. It's rotting your, thing behind your eyeballs that makes you, you know, it does all the things. All the maths and the speaking. Your tonsils. Here we are in Temple of the Cat, the second stage of Tomb Raider Unfinished Business, and the second and final part of the Shadow of the Cat campaign. Now this is one of my favourite Tomb Raider stages of all time, truly a superbly designed experience from beginning to end. And it also has to be one of the longest levels out of any of the Tomb Raider games, with a 100% run. If you know what you're actually doing, clocking in an average playtime of around 40 minutes, so I hope you're sitting comfortably. Why do people say that? Why would you be sitting uncomfortably? I know people are by and large pretty fucking stupid, but what do you think's happening? Like they're sitting there watching TV in a cactus patch, and you go, I hope you're sitting comfortably, and suddenly they're like, yeah, actually, why the fuck am I sitting like this? This is horrible. I've got spines in my ball sack and everything. What the fuck? Why did I sit on this? Why am I so fucking stupid? Help! I'm stuck in the desert. I've been here for days just sitting on cactuses and drinking lead paint. Help! Anybody! Help! Do you like that? Do you like that little rolling trick there? I don't usually have to employ it thanks to the various raised ledges and other useful vantage points that Tomb Raider offers you, from which you can comfortably slaughter your foes from afar, but I'm no slouch in close quarters either, lovelies. It's only good for certain enemies, mostly the four-legged variety. You try that against an Atlantean and you'll get a unique insight into what makes the human body tick as you are flayed alive. Interesting fact about flaying. It's usually the shock that kills you first. I mean, you will die, obviously, slowly and painfully, but yeah, shock cuts off your blood flow and can critically damage your internal organs. And there's little more shocking than having all your skin cut off. Of course, if you're a particularly hardy bastard and you survive that and the blood loss, your next opponent is hypothermia. It was an Assyrian tradition more than anything, flaying. They usually started with your ass for some reason. Maybe so they could wear it as a novelty hat in front of you. Imagine somebody threatening to cut your ass off. You couldn't take them seriously, could you? Maybe that's why they managed to conquer as far as they did. People underestimated them based on their comical threats. I'll cut your bloody ass off. I'll do it. Go away, you sad drunk. If you're ever in the mood to go and stare at an entire man suit of flayed skin, I think the Body Worlds tour still have theirs. Couldn't tell you what poor town that ghoulish carnival is planning on haunting next, but I hear they have an entire skinless giraffe there as well. That's got to be worth a visit, isn't it? Alright, if you fix your gaze to the top of the ridge there, you'll see why I have nicknamed this hellhole Boulder Alley. Sinister army of boulders watch you from up high, just waiting for the perfect chance to come tumbling down and crush you into a puddle of thieving, titted filth. These shells are the property of Boulder Alley, and just as soon as somebody breaks the seal on their hidden casket and unleashes their black Egyptian magic, they will grow limbs, take up arms, and enslave the world, forcing us all to listen to their favourite genre of music. Improvisational jitterbug. What? Rock and roll? You're funny. You're a funny man. But you got a lot to learn about boulders. I suggest you go and do some research before you resort to such racist remarks. For example, did you know that a boulder is classified as any fragment of rock that measures over 10.1 inches in diameter? Did you have any idea, before you started shooting your mouth off, that boulder you just called a rock? Now he's so depressed that he doesn't have the motivation to crush those idiot cavers. Now the caver population spirals out of control, and before you know it, they'll be climbing up every outlet in your house. You'd be sitting there trying to take a shit, and whoops! Now there's a pickaxe in your anus. Now there's rope clamps all over your house from where one's climbed out of your bath while you were sleeping. Now you've got cavers. Good job. Enjoy getting up 2 hours early to go around with the broom knocking all their pulleys and sit harnesses down. Well done. Why don't you just go and join the fucking clan while you're at it? Grand Dragon, Exalted Cyclops, Intolerant Pegasus. Did you know that the city of Boulder in Colorado isn't actually ruled by boulders? Instead, the boulders have chosen to run their city as a socialist utopia. They don't subscribe to your corrupt governmental regimes. It's a fucking paradise. But the CIA keep you stupid with vaccinations and fly-by laser ray lobotomies. Did you know that Boulder's the primary ingredient in bread and joy? Or that they can grievously injure you if you try to make love to them. Did you know that boulders invented birds and laughter? That boulders ruled people once before they looked Sharon Osbourne directly in the eyes? That you can't marry a boulder here in 2016? Thanks, Obama. Thanks for 8 years of igneous intolerance, of sedimentary seclusion, of metamorphic malcontent. Thank God for the Republicans, that's all I can say. Mike Pence will steer us through this xenophobia of rock kind. He's got a head full of them. Tolerance, liberty, emancipation. What a joke. You people make me sick. You know, I still find it remarkable that Tomb Raider didn't have that many crappy clones following its release back in 1996. I mean, Tomb Raider itself worked on the template that Fade to Black put down the year before, but with such a popular game, you usually get all sorts of god-awful clones. The closest I can think of is Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, which was awesome, and Death Trap Dungeon, which had its moments and was incredibly fucking difficult. Oh, and Barbie Explorer. You can't leave out Barbie Explorer. What a classic. One underappreciated. You know, every time I see a top 10 games ever made list, and I see that they've snubbed Barbie Explorer again, oh, it boils my piss, mate. Look, watch this. You never see anybody climbing the pyramids of Giza like this. Get down from there, Miss Croft. No. Wee. Wahoo. Wee. Woman's menace. You can glitch your way straight to the top of this thing with a corner bug that we used to get that taunting unreachable medipack back in Midas Palace, but that'd be out of character for Lara. She'd never pass up the chance to desecrate and clamber all over the legacy of a people too dead to stop her. Here we are. We're at the entrance proper now. This is the Temple of the Cats. Whoa. Whoa, yeah. This is the Temple of the Cats. A nice ominous cinematic pan out there to warn you of the dangers that lurk within. The keys are good 'un. Alright, if you go left as you run in here, which we're not going to, you'll get a very rare, very intact example of an authentic Egyptian light switch. I'm not kidding. There is a switch back there that turns on the lights in here, but it also seals off the secret area around the corner and you can't open it back up, so not today, lovelies. There is a legitimate cat temple in Tokyo called Goto Kuji Temple that's filled with an arseload of near identical cat statues. They're called Maneki Neko, which translates out to beckoning cat, and they're characterized by being all white with red collars and one paw raised in the air, which a lot of tourists interpret as a wave goodbye, as if the cat knows something about your life expectancy that you don't. But they're actually supposed to be making the Japanese gesture for come here, which thankfully is a world away from Netherrealm dwelling ninja menace Scorpion's gesture, which involves harpooning you through the chest and reeling you in like a man mackerel. The Maneki Neko is supposed to be very lucky, popular in China as well, and it gets its name and its home from one particular legend whereby a feudal lord was making his way back after a day of falconry when he saw the Goto Kuji Temple's cat making a beckoning gesture to guide him inside. As soon as the Lord stepped foot over the threshold, a mighty thunderstorm erupted, and grateful to the cat for saving him from a rather unlordly soaking, he had the dilapidated temple restored, and when the cat itself finally passed, he had it enshrined in its own temple and canonized as a god called Shobio Canon. Of course, this being folklore, Maneki Neko has a ridiculous amount of different origin stories, but the most gruesome that I know of is a young woman that was visited by her friend, a swordsman, and the young woman's pet cat suddenly went balls out ballistic, clawing and scratching at the woman's legs, and the swordsman, thinking it was trying to kill her, decapitated the cat with a single blow that sent its head spiraling upwards, where its bared teeth sank into the neck of a deadly snake that was lurking in the rafters of the house about to strike, which killed it instantly. The woman was beside herself and sank into a deep depression over the loss of her beloved cat, refusing food and sleep, until the swordsman, overcome with guilt by his mistake, visited the best woodcarver in the land and had a carving made of the cat with one paw up as if waving hello. And of course the woman got the statue and was just right as rain again, and its image went on to become wildly popular throughout the whole country. What's an interesting tale. That's one proper cheeky trick shot that though, isn't it? I'll bet the swordsman had to proper sit on his hands for that one. Oh my god, I'm so sorry about your cat, lady. I'm so sorry. But fuck me, did you see that? In this room here, you find another uncredited invention of the ancient Egyptians. The cinema! All the way around the room here, you can see cats running around in an endless loop, which must predate The Horse in Motion by Edward Muybridge by, 3.5, 4,000 years? Remarkable. Utterly remarkable. And these flat pack Magnum ammo clips too, completely usable despite being sat under a near ton block of limestone. Absolutely revolutionary. So ahead of their time. Really makes you pause before you go running blindly around corners in here in case I invented the fucking tank first as well, doesn't it? Best cat in a film. Go. Oh man. Should have had my answer straightened out before I asked that, shouldn't I? Jonesy from the first two Alien movies. There you go. I vote Jonesy. Any cat that can survive the xenomorph menace without getting facehugger pregnant is a wily son of a bitch. In fact, didn't the xenomorph from the first movie find Jonesy in his cage, give him a whack, and then it just left him alone? Jonesy's badass. Do it again, motherfucker. Touch my cage again. One of you slimy sons bitches sticks anything in my mouth and I'll bite it off. Meow. God damn, Jonesy. When they were filming Alien, the part where they had to get the cat playing Jonesy to act scared while Brett gets dragged into the air ducts, they had to resort to basically throwing a live German shepherd at the bastard animal to get it to even look mildly agitated. They hid the dog behind a screen. Then they suddenly revealed it and Jonesy was like, I'll kill you, motherfucker. Say goodbye to your dog, kids. Say goodbye to your dog wife. I'm a motherfucking... Do you remember that grumpy cat meme? That fuck ugly cat that looked like it was chewing on a wasp. Do you remember that thing? Do you know, that cat got its own film. I only found this out the other day by complete accident while I was looking for Christmas movies for my kids. Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever is what it's called. And Grumpy Cat is voiced by Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey Plaza. Not that she's a horrible actress or anything, but wow, they pulled her name out of a fucking hat, didn't they? It's got that kid from Mama in it. So strange. Plus, I read in the synopsis that in the movie, Grumpy Cat winds up getting adopted, so hardly the worst Christmas ever, was it? Unless the others were just unbelievably good. Worst Christmas ever. You think it got run over, thrown onto a bonfire, and had to have its arse grafted onto its face. The end. I kind of want to watch it now, though. There's an itch in me that isn't going away anytime soon. It's got its own comic book. It's been on Monday Night Raw. I don't know what happened. I haven't watched wrestling for years. Did Grumpy Cat beat Brock Lesnar? Did Grumpy Cat run out and help John Cena in a handicap match? They got a history of slobbering all over their guest stars. Never used to be like that. When Rob Lowe went on there, he got kicked in the face by Booker T. Based on Rob Lowe's previous acting, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that they did multiple takes of it, culminating in Booker T actually having to kick Rob Lowe in the face. This is one of the 2 parts of this level that I truly hate. And this part's only because we're going for a 100% run. This bit's nothing spectacular in itself. You just swim around, get the ammo, blah 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 blah. But at the end of the passageway we've got a switch to throw. Here we are. Nicely done. And that brings a crocodile out who's just slammed his jaws down on my head with nearly 4 tons of force. No biggie, just a scratch, that. No, the trouble comes now because there's no other way to kill him except to lure him up to the tiny little hole in the floor where we entered and kill him from there. Which isn't too difficult in itself. The pain in the arse lies in getting Lara to actually target him. But we might get lucky. Let's see. Let's see what mood Unfinished Business is in today. Where are you? Where? There you go. There's the crocodile, but there. Lara refuses to lock onto it. And now he's swimming off again, never to resurface until you jump in, bring him back and try again. Well, this should be a fun 10 minutes.
Here's Mr. Crocodile. Hungry Mr. Crocodile.
I want you for lunch!
Oh, I got him. There we go. I got you. Scaly fucking pain in the ass. My goodness. That has taken me longer before. Much, much longer. There's weird art choice in this stage. You notice Tutankhamun's death mask features quite heavily in this cat goddess temple for some odd reason. It's always stuck out like a sore thumb to me because it just seems like the most stock Egyptian image they could find. It's plastered all over the place. It'd be like raiding a French tomb and finding effigies of baguettes or Napoleon nailed up everywhere. They never did a direct tie-in with Tutankhamun in the Tomb Raider games, but a UK newspaper called The Times did commission a standalone level for Tomb Raider The Last Revelation to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the discovery of his tomb that was based around a new dig site discovered in the same area or something similar. You've probably heard about the curse of Tutankhamun and how it murdered everybody who was present to exhume his body and enter his tomb. Most of it was crap made up by the papers. It was pretty unspectacular as far as curses went. Out of the 58 or so people that were around to be cursed, Tutankhamun allegedly managed to kill 8 inside 12 years, which is crap, isn't it? Then again, even though the media reported to the contrary, there was no actual death curse inscribed anywhere in his tomb, so you could look at it like even without a formal curse, he still managed to take his undead revenge on 8 people, which, on those terms, is pretty impressive. Of course, if you really want a worthwhile curse, or if you're judging curses by their potency, you have to take into account who it's supposed to be cursing, and who actually gets cursed. In the case of a death curse, obviously, you want to see a body. You want a corpse. And not like 70 years after the fact, dying peacefully in their sleep in a retirement home. Unless that was the curse. Pretty shit curse, though. No, on those terms, England has the absolute best death curse ever because it has, as far as anybody knows, a 100% success rate. Prepare your sphincters for the tale of Busby's chair. Now, I'm kinda proud to set the scene for you in my home ground of Yorkshire, North Yorkshire to be precise, in the tiny village of Kirby Wisk, Hambleton. Home to just over 100 people, and the most terrifyingly fatal death curse in the modern world. But for now, the year is 1702, and Thomas Busby, a small-time crook with a temper and too indulgent a taste for a drink, had just murdered his father-in-law, Daniel Awarty. The reason? Awarty had been found sitting in Busby's favourite chair at his local tavern without Busby's express permission. Crime ran in the family, and Awarty made a small fortune as a coin forger and had bought a farm just outside of the village with his riches, Danity Hall, which allowed him to expand his operations and work more freely in the secrecy that his isolated surroundings afforded him. Now at some point, Awarty and Busby began working together in the counterfeiting business, but with Busby being a hot-tempered drunk not renowned for his discretion, tensions soon arose between the two men. Finally, Awarty decided to tear his daughter away from this liability for good and tore down to Busby's tavern to find her, but she refused to leave until her husband returned. And when he did, finding his hated father-in-law reclining cozily in his chair, an innocuous-looking high-backed oak seat with armrests, Busby flipped his shit. Awarty fled back to his farm, but his son-in-law made the 3-mile trek to follow him and beat him to death with his own counterfeiter's mallet before clumsily disposing of his body in the surrounding woodland. It didn't take the police long to either discover Awarty or link the murder to Busby. A quick trial later, and Busby was found guilty and sentenced to hang, and the court granted a last request to the condemned man: one last drink at the tavern, one final hour in his beloved chair. Upon finishing his beer, Busby stood up and declared, "Death shall quickly meet any man who dares to sit in my chair," before walking to the gallows where he hung until dead, his body then dipped in pitch and displayed from a gibbet. Now for many, many long years, nobody in Kirby Whisk dared to use the chair that Busby had so venomously cursed. Drunken dares were issued, but even the most inebriated man, full of Dutch courage, could not find the balls to sit on it. By all accounts, the chair's first victim came decades after the curse was first issued. A chimney sweep entered the pub on his break and found every other seat full, but for Busby's. He rested in it as he drank, amazed everybody by not instantly dropping dead, and returned to work. Just minutes after leaving, the chimney sweep fell headfirst from a roof, killing him instantly. 1-0 to the chair. The chair was left alone again until the outbreak of the Second World War, when the many officers and pilots from the Royal Air Force came from nearby Bagby Airfield to drink and forget the horrors of battle. Like the drunks of old, many were dared to sit in Busby's chair, and a handful took up the challenge. None of them survived the war. In 1967, 2 more pilots came by the tavern. This time, both sat in the chair. They were killed as they drove back to base when their car skidded out of control and into a tree. Now, with anywhere from 6 to 12 deaths on his hands by this point, the landlord of the pub decided that it would probably be best to move the chair away from public display. And by this point, the legend of Busby's chair was bringing a very profitable stream of customers and tourists into the place, but his conscience won out and the chair was moved down into the basement, where it stayed untouched for nearly a decade. That is, until a bricklayer working on the pub decided to take a small rest in the chair that he had found while labouring in the basement. He died that same afternoon. A roofer working it around the same time took a similar break in the chair. The roof gave way underneath him. He died too. Then a cleaning lady at the tavern stumbled, didn't even sit in the chair, just fell across it, died of an aneurysm. A delivery driver moving beer casks into the basement sat on the chair to go over his documents. He was killed in a traffic accident the same day. Now, putting the chair in the basement only seemed to piss it off more, so the landlord, terrified of this piece of furniture that now seemed to be just outright killing anybody that looked at it, donated it with a full warning to the nearby museum in Thirsk, who cautiously accepted and very carefully transported the chair to its new home, where it was wrapped in chains and suspended 6 feet above the floor in a tight corner to make it nearly impossible for anybody to sit in it ever again. Busby's chair remains in the Thirsk Museum, hanging in the air, if you want to go and look at it. If you want to go and try your luck. Best death curse ever. There's quite a few good royal family curses out there too. I've been wishing one on ours for the past couple of weeks. For those of you not in the know, Buckingham Palace, the world famous London residence of Queen Elizabeth II, is in need of repairs to the apparent tune of £369 million. And the government have said, sure you can use taxpayers' money for that. Now, before I properly go off on one, it's worth noting that technically, Buckingham Palace has already sort of paid for itself. And when I say technically, it's kind of a grey area. I'll explain without dragging it out and boring the life out of you. Buckingham Palace is part of the Crown Estate, which covers a whole bunch of other buildings, attractions and rural land that belongs to the monarch. Not the Queen. The Queen can't sell them off and keep the money for herself or anything. They belong to the monarch, which is managed by a separate body. And the money that all of these attractions bring in is paid in large to the country's treasury. Now in return for that, the Queen gets 15% of it back for herself to do what she wants with. So at this point you might be thinking, well, if it's their money then fair enough. Except that when that money enters the treasury, it's not really hers anymore. It goes into a big pot along with everybody else's tax money, and that's what we attempt to run the country with. So basically what's happened is that our current unelected Prime Minister, Theresa May, or Darth Frenzy if you want her Sith name, has said, well, you can take 25% instead of 15% as a sovereign grant to pay for it. So that's not so much the royal family paying for the repairs themselves as it is the Prime Minister giving the Queen a fucking pay rise just to do it. And you have to understand, we're in panic mode in the UK at the moment. Our economy is just vomiting all over itself. Our public health system is being systematically assassinated by privatisation. We can't afford to pay a sustainable living wage or give families suffering directly from that the relief they need in housing benefit. Basically, every poor fucker on the breadline or under in the UK is being trampled on from every perceivable direction. And we don't have the money to fix that. But we can do up Buckingham Palace for £369 million. What in the fuck have they been doing in there? Bullfighting? Playing elephant polo? £369 million. They've trashed the fucking place, haven't they? That's not a renovation bill, that's what Bond villains hold the world to ransom for with a fucking doomsday laser. £369 million. For that money, the next time I go there, Buckingham Palace had better be able to fucking fly. Those guards had better be wearing the nano suits from Crisis and all be able to join together into one giant robo-bulldog to defeat Britain's enemies, whoever they are, week to week. Muslims, the French, refugees of countries we bomb, benefits claimants, feminists, anti-feminists, the Germans, the EU, Facebook, liberals, fat people, doctors. Basically anybody not willing to roleplay the scenario that the glorious British Empire is still alive and well. Because we chose to give it all back to the savages we murdered for it, and by golly we can take it back anytime we bloody well please. I think the Queen has really shown just how out of touch she is with the common man here, more than any other instance I can remember, because she's made the classic mistake of taking the first quote that was offered to her, hasn't she? £369 million. I bet the toilet wouldn't flush. I bet that's what's kicked all this off. And she's called a tradesman in, and he's poked around for an hour and gone, ooh, yeah, this doesn't look good, love. This doesn't look good at all. What you're gonna need here is a new palace. I can get the parts in next week. I said before there were 2 parts of this level that I hated. This is the second. It's like they took everything that made the block shoving mechanics in this game mature and just started multiplying it for fun like you do on your calculator in maths class. Ooh, what's 900 million times 712 billion? You're just trying to break the fucking thing, aren't you? You're just trying to give a machine a nervous breakdown. I don't know. What's 592,000 times the divide symbol? What's the square root of plus? Cover the little solar panel with your thumb and watch the display slowly die. Baby, if you've got to go away, don't think I could take the pain. Won't you stay another day? Stay with me, Kalki. We're getting out this algebra lesson together. Oh, don't leave me alone like this. Kalki! Don't you say it's the final kiss. Solar calculators. Not a big seller in England. You know those movies where somebody unleashes some sort of ancient curse or dreaded evil, and you see the black clouds roll over the sun, plunging the kingdom into a grey, rain-soaked hellhole? That's a Tuesday afternoon for us. Apparently, somewhere in this level there's a hieroglyph of Lara. I've never found it myself. I've never found myself with enough free time to look for it. I'm sure some other adventurous soul has managed to track it down on the internet to save me the bother. That means that the Egyptians knew Lara was coming, which really begs the question, why didn't you hide all your treasure better? Nearly there, lovelies. We're in the final chamber now, which just so happens to be absolutely bloody enormous and spans multiple floors, but you'll see why when we get to the top. It's pretty hilarious. This stupid mummy wants to play hide and seek now. I win. Has anybody actually played these games on the iPhone? Because they're out for it. Anyone? The only reason I know is because somebody ripped the new HD textures from it, so you can patch it over the classic Tomb Raider 2 on the PC, which I'm definitely going to have a go with when I get around to playing it for this series, but I can't imagine touchscreen controls are going to hold up to scrutiny in these games, are they? I can imagine that would be nearly fucking unplayable. I do wonder how Tomb Raider must feel to this new generation of gamers that are only just discovering it now for the first time, because, yeah, even on its own terms, it's a difficult game. Combat's clunky, one shuffle in the wrong direction will kill you. Vital switches often blend in with the wall textures. It is pretty thoroughly obtuse to anybody that wasn't used to exactly that kind of thing growing up in games. But I think now more about how every process is so completely unautomated that it must seem very unnatural to anybody brought up primarily with 7th generation gaming. Like here, in this game, when you jump, you don't automatically grab a ledge and pull yourself up. Those are another two entirely independent actions. And if you jump from too close a distance, you'll just bounce off the wall and probably die. There's no automatic dash or evade button, you just have to make do with the protection your environment offers you. I mean, fuck, even Dark Souls had a dodge button. Alright, we're about to move on to the final floor here. And at last you'll be able to see the delicious irony of Lara Croft's long, painful quest for the famous lost treasure of the Temple of the Cat. It's about 200 feet tall. Go on then, Lara. Pop it in your backpack and let's be off. Ah, well played, core design. What a joke. Oh, I can just hear her now. Bloody hell. Bloody buggering hemorrhoid cakes. Sod an arse to it. Go back and find that hieroglyph of her that's supposed to be around here. It's probably on the cat's arse. Haha! Gotcha, bitch! Nothing much left to do now. Clamber up here. Whip out your shotty. Erase another couple of mummies from history. And we're pretty much home free. Don't mess up the last couple of jumps because it's a long old way down to the bottom. And as lovely as this level is, you don't want to do all that shit again, do you? Nah, mates. Nah. I love how they use the cat's tongue as a bridge. But what I love even more is how it seems to be mocking Lara. Nah, nah. No treasure for you. You come with nothing, you leave with nothing. Should have taken the avalanche of cash from Natla there, Croft. Should have taken the dollar. Stop it! Throw the switch. That's it. I don't know why she keeps doing that. Like a little jump for joy instead of the action I'm telling her to do. Hooray! We did it, by Jove! Lovely job, fraggers. Alright, just one more switch to throw in the cat's throat now. No Atlantean tonsil mini-boss today, unfortunately. And there you go. No painful return trip to suffer, thankfully. Just another cat statue looking at you sardonically. Was it everything you'd hoped, grave robber? Sure was, Whiskers. Join me next time on Tomb Raider Tuesday as we return to Atlantis to begin the unfinished business campaign, going all guns blazing into the Atlantean stronghold.
It's showing this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.